Okay, I think I had a little technical issues there. I'm not sure. But welcome to Talking Time with Caffeine, the podcast where we talk about stuff that we enjoy or we hate or just just because we want to.
hmm
For for 2 weeks in a row today, surprise visit. I usually we take a little break here, but he's like he wanted to get on this immediately.
Yeah, well, why wait? We got some interesting dinos to talk about this week. Not sure if we love or hate them. I guess we'll see.
Yeah,
Well, a mixture of both.
yeah. We'll answer all questions at the end, but if you give him give Dr. Dino a super chat or give me in the Streamlabs link down below, we will give your questions priority.
Yes, but we'll try to answer as many questions as we can, just in general.
Yeah.
Let's see. Should we introduce ourselves, Senor? Or
I I guess I'll start because um my name is 98. People that know my people on my channel already know who I am, but the new people who are to Dr. Dinos and the V's channel might not know. I have a podcast
Right,
I do
Leo?
every Saturday, and I talk about stuff, and I also play games.
Cadence.
I'm Doctor Dino, spelled like I'm German because it's funny. Uh, I love to talk about dinosaurs and other prehistoric critters, and well, I just kind of like to have fun.
And hi, I'm Vanessa. Everyone calls me Nasty, like the Locust Monster. And you can find me on YO Paleo. I do dinosaurs in Wyoming,
Mhm.
and I primarily study that. So if you want to come find me, follow me on YO Paleo.
And today we have an interesting group of dinosaurs we'll be talking about.
We are continuing with the
We're continuing the ornithischians
yes.
with the last branch of the group, the ornithopods. Let's see. I think we already had a question or two come in. Um, Spinosaurus is asking, what's your opinion on Nanotyrannus?
I thought we weren't going to get into that.
It's more so as a joke. Uh,
Yes and no for Nano. Hello, Kansas.
it's neat.
It's me.
Well, everyone ready for us to get started?
Yeah, let's go.
Alrighty. So, again, today we are talking about the ornithopods, which, while they are ornithischians, they're not. Well, ornithopods are ornithischians, but not all ornithischians are ornithopods. We're going to be using these words a lot, so I figured it'd be a good idea to clear up any confusions.
Mhm.
Ornithischians are just a broad group of dinosaurs. Almost all of them are plant eaters. If you think of a plant eating dinosaur that's not a sauropod, it's probably an ornithischian. As you follow up the tree a bit, you get all the way to the end here where we have a split between ceratopsians, which we covered last week, and our ornithopods for this week.
Yeah, I see. These guys are more closely related to the topic we talked about last week, the topic we talked about a few weeks ago.
Well, closely related slash. So, ornithopods are an interesting group because there are things like them throughout the entirety of the Mesozoic, basically from the beginning all the way to the end. And they appear to be one of, if not the last of the ornithischian branches to split off and become their own thing rather than just being a general little plant eater.
So these guys mostly stayed on their or bipedal. Looks like.
Well, that depends on the ones you're talking about. Some are bipedal, most of them are facultative bipeds, meaning that they spent most of their time on all fours, but could get up on two legs if they had to run. Also, I'm just going to tilt down my camera a bit because I talk with my hands and I just realized my name's covering them.
And I'm short as heck.
Oh, we're both kind of short. And alrighty. So, ornithopods were one of the most successful groups of dinosaurs. And a lot of people might look at them and say, oh, it's a duckbill, it's generic, it's nothing. They're generic because they were unbelievably successful. In all honesty, they were probably the most they were probably the most common group of dinosaurs besides birds,
Mhm.
just because of how good they were.
So because they were like a good body plan.
Yeah, they had a really good generalized body plan that helped them conquer every corner of the earth.
Now, do you think that the droppings, dino droppings, the same birds did today?
Well, I don't know. I've never seen one of their coprolites. Have you?
I have, and they don't look the same.
Well, to be fair, ornithischians and actual birds diverged way back in the Triassic. So,
True, very true.
um,
So Chugwater Formation?
yeah, somewhere out there. It's a
Yeah.
rock formation out there.
He's
That
right here. Let's go find him.
All right, so real fast, why did they get the name duck-billed dinosaurs?
you want to handle that one?
The structure of the face is
Yes.
more duck shaped, like a duckbill. Well, hence duck-billed dinosaur.
Well, at least
That's
the
how
bones
that
are.
happened. Yeah, the bones are.
Although in recent years, we've started to more appreciate that they had a keratin extension to the bill. So the actual face wouldn't really have looked that duck-like, at least for most of them. But at any rate, within the ornithopods, this particular group,
Mhm.
there are two major body plans that emerge. We have the skinny and scrawny ones, and the big and tall
They're
ones.
chewy.
Are they chewy?
I don't know. I was making a play off of Disney Dinosaur.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Chewy.
the skinny ones are chewy.
Now we.
A crap ton of teeth.
Oh yes, these things have the most teeth of any dinosaur. I think by the end.
Can I do the poem real quick?
I don't know the poem. Go ahead.
Shed a tear for Trachodon. His dental chart was chilling. He had 5,000 teeth, you know, and each one needed filling.
Oh, that. That sounds accurate and painful.
Yeah, I'm a little dumb.
It's fine. But
Tenontosaurus, let's go, Tenonto.
we might be talking about Tenontosaurus later.
Maybe.
I didn't write it down. I can't remember the name of this little ornithopod up here, but this big one down here is called Magnapolia.
I know. Is that a Thessaliosaur?
I don't think it's a thessaliosaur, but it is a basal ornithopod. Oh dear, what is it? Are you okay?
Yeah, it's fine.
Anyway, Magnapolia is here because I love the name. The translation is Big Paul.
Big Paul. Paleoanalysis. I hope you're in here because that top picture is for you.
Okay.
Did you send him the link to it?
Horizon. Yes, we were.
Oh, someone friend of yours?
Yes, we were digging her in Montana.
Well, not Magnapolia, right?
Screw you, Ness.
No need to read out loud.
Yes, Horizon.
You're calling him skinny and scrawny. I got it. Anyway, we have these major body plans. They all start out skinny and scrawny. Some of them get big and tall, but we still have the little ones all the way to the end. And like I alluded to before, honestly, you could consider this group the true rulers of the Mesozoic because they're everywhere. We have ornithopods on quite literally every continent, quite a few islands you wouldn't expect. And just a case in point, here are a bunch of ornithopods from Australia. We have all of these from, I think, 2 or 3 rock formations.
So they were food for the carnivores on both the Lasosaurus and the Gondwana. I never came out those names.
What was that?
They were food for the carnivores on both Eurasia with the L and then the Gondwana.
Gondwana. Yep.
Yeah.
But not just food. They were really successful animals in their own right. And we've learned a lot about the past from studying them. If you want to know what an ancient ornithopod would have looked like, here's a pretty good example here. The animal on screen is known as Nanosaurus agilis. It is a really tiny ornithischian that's kind of close to the ornithopods, though it itself is not one. Oh, and we have a cat, and we don't have a cat. But this is what your ancestral ornithopod would have looked like. Again, small and skinny, and probably fluffy.
Yeah, I think it's
now, why would this thing be fluffy? Well, we have small ornithischians all over the world, but particularly in Russia, we have one called Calindrodromius. Now, it's much older than Nanosaurus here. I think it's about 180 million years old, but it's covered in feathers. And if one that old has so many feathers, well, stands to reason that trait might have continued, especially for these smaller body ones. Also, just a little fun fact about Nanosaurus. It's from the Morrison Formation here in Wyoming, actually. It's been found. And if you know anything about the Morrison Formation and its history, it was sort of one of the main focuses for the Bone Wars during the late 1800s between Othniel Marsh and Edward Cope.
Cope and Marsh mentioned.
Marsh named a dinosaur Othnielia after himself, and much later on, some other scientists named a little ornithischian they found Drinker after
Edward
Cope.
Drinker Cope.
Yep.
What a weird middle name.
I don't know.
Middle
It
name was
happens.
Drinker. Maybe his dad was I don't know.
Maybe. But in just a couple years ago, both of those dinosaurs became synonymous with Nanosaurus. And I just think it's funny that 2 dinosaurs named for both of the leaders of the Bone Wars are now just tiny saurus.
Sauruses.
But I mentioned Australia earlier, and I thought I'd talk about a few of the little odd things from that continent. Because as we've talked about on this series before, once you get on an island, you get weird. And Australia is no exception.
So do you know if they share by this point they shared the island with the marsupials yet, or they have not arrived yet?
Yes, there were marsupials on Australia, actually. We have fragmentary remains, but we do have remains from, I want to say, at least 6 different genera from Australia, from the, I think this is early Cretaceous. But for our dinosaurs today, we have, well, can you say that name? I
What?
always struggle with it.
Which one?
This one.
Laelianellosaura?
Laelianellosaura.
No, I said Laelianellosaura.
But this
You
dinosaur,
remember walking with dinosaurs?
I remember
When they
walking with
ate
dinosaurs.
Fruit, the fermented fruit off the ground? Laelianellosaura. That's her name.
Well, at any rate, this little dinosaur, we're not 100% sure where it goes. It's kind of bounced around a few times in different analyses. But at the moment, it's assigned to a group of ornithopods called the Elasmarians, which which we see throughout the Cretaceous period. And they're just little speedy little things, and they're kind of weird. And the depiction of Leonellonosaura up here is fluffy. Again, taking that little input from older ornithischians like Calindrodromius. And also, this animal lived very far south, which, granted, during the Mesozoic, the world was warmer than it is today,
The base of Gondwana.
but it was at the very base of Gondwana, or at least the very southern part of Australia, which at the time would have been below the Antarctic Circle, so definitely possible it could have seen some snow.
Fluffy.
Yeah, being fluffy would help out with that. The other critter on screen is Muttaburrasaurus,
Quite true.
which, oh yes, quite the tail.
No kidding.
There is a very long tail from an ornithischian that's been assigned
There's
to.
over
Leonellonosaurus?
17 vertebrae,
I feel like there would have to be more than that.
but they were longer. They were elongated.
Oh, so they're long and
Yeah,
okay.
they're like weirdly long.
I haven't actually seen the tail.
Oh, okay. I'll show you.
Oh yes, and Caden is correct here in the chat. Leonellonosaura is named for Leah Ellen, whose brother Tim would later get the dinosaur Timimus named after him. It was found by a pair of Australian fossil hunters, and they named dinosaurs after their kids, which I think is pretty cute.
Okay, that's super cute.
Mhm.
Metabarosaurus here.
Muttaburrasaurus, on the other hand, well, we go from a tiny little dino to actually one of the bigger dinosaurs coming out of Australia, not counting sauropods. Muttaburrasaurus could reach about 30 feet long, but it was bipedal, which kind of makes it weird among the ornithopods. See, with most of them, when they get big, they become quadrupeds. But Muttaburrasaurus didn't. It stayed on its hind legs. It actually has fairly small arms. It also has a really weird face with a weird skull.
Oh, don't call her that. It's a strange face, but she's not a weird face. Not in
Okay.
a bad way.
I wasn't meaning it in a bad way, but you're right.
She's beautiful. I love her. It, him,
Yes.
them, they.
It,
I love this dinosaur.
well, I agree. And as Don Fairfield is asking here, both of these were in Walking with Dinosaurs.
Yes, they were.
And they did look very different. I'm pretty sure the Leonellonosaura in Walking with Dinosaurs was a recolored Dryosaurus model.
I think it was a dry.
Yeah, and they didn't change it very much. Muttaburrasaurus in there, though, is really cool. And they show it having nasal pouches
Yeah.
when it roars.
Underneath the zygomatic arches.
No, above, in the nasals.
Oh, up here?
Yeah, because it has the big nose.
Oh, it did the big nose thing.
Yeah,
Oh,
and they made the
wow.
nose inflatable in Walking with
That's
Dinosaurs.
Yeah. Wow.
And I just think that's pretty cool because we do know that later ornithopods did some weird things with their noses.
Okay.
Muttaburrasaurus also belongs to a strange offshoot of the ornithopods called the rhabdodontomorphs.
Weirdness is always okay.
I agree. The rhabdodontomorphs,
Nasally or facially.
just in general, weirdness is cool.
Yeah. That's what makes us us.
Yeah.
That's what makes you you.
Well, at any rate, these rhabdodontomorphs, mouthful of a name, but they're an interesting little group. As far as I know, almost all of them are bipedal, and most of them are small. Muttaburrasaurus is weirdly big, but that happens on islands.
I really.
Well, are we ready?
Keep going.
Are we ready to
Let's
get
go
out of
back this way.
Australia?
Yeah. Australia, mate.
So, I do have a question real fast.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Did they migrate to Australia or did they migrate from Australia?
With it being Gondwana, they probably migrated south.
Yeah, probably to Australia.
Yes.
We have older members of both of these groups, I think both in North America, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So their ancestors would have been Laurasian.
Yeah. So Laurasia migrating south to Gondwana.
Yeah. And then getting to an island and getting weird, as things do.
Okay, real fast. One last question. I'm not,
Yeah.
probably not, but did these branch off in the Jurassic or the Cretaceous?
So it would have started in the late Jurassic,
Mhm.
Okay.
and it would have slowly migrated into early to mid, all the way into late Cretaceous.
All right.
Yeah. All right.
Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Well, getting us out of Australia, we run into a more dangerous tale, you could say. As I already alluded to, most of these larger ornithopods, as they grew bigger, became much more quadrupedal. Now, they could still stand on their hind legs. Many of them could run on their hind legs, and in fact, they probably did to escape predators. But one of these early big ones is Tenontosaurus.
Not Thessalsaur, Tenontosaurus.
Yes, not a thessalosauр, a
Shout out to
Tenontosaurus.
We have a pronunciation war going on here.
No, it's just there's a dinosaur that sounds vaguely similar that sometimes gets mixed up with this one. But at any rate, oh wait, are people? Never mind. So Tenontosaurus was first found in the Cloverleaf Formation in Montana, which is a rock formation that Nessie and I actually do quite a bit of work in.
Working on them for about 15 years.
Yep. You've done a lot of work with Tenontosaurus, right?
Yeah, I've done a lot of Tenontosaurus.
Yep. It's weirdly common in the Cloverleaf Formation, which is another thing we're going to see with these ornithopods. They're usually the most common fossils in their ecosystems, which is interesting for a large herbivore. And if you pay attention to any dino media, you might have seen this animal before getting eaten by Deinonychus, the namesake of my channel. Now, we have found a few Tenontosaurus with actually dead Deinonychus, indicating it wasn't a clean kill. But it appears they were hunted by them, which is weird because Tenontosaurus is about the size of a rhinoceros. Like, it's a big animal, and Deinonychus would have been about the size of a gray wolf. And sometimes you just get these weird predator-prey relationships in the fossil record. Does that mean that Deinonychus hunted in packs? You'll have to tune into the eventual episode on raptors.
Yeah, because I've got some things to say about that.
I think we both have opinions.
Yeah, it's just different.
But I mean, heck, I was working out in the Cloverleaf yesterday, and I might have found another Tenontosaurus because, like I said, they're really, really common. And as people have noticed, it has a weirdly long tail.
Yes, Horizon.
Do you think Tenontosaurus has the longest tail relative to its body?
No.
For a large ornithopod?
Yes.
For a large ornithopod.
Oh, ornithopod?
It's definitely
Yes.
up there.
Yeah, she's up there.
Yeah, it's really long, probably really good for defense. Just having a telephone pole strapped to your butt. Okay, tell me I'm wrong. That thing's the size of a tree.
It's just, that was such a funny way to put that.
What kind of tree? A maple tree, a redwood, a cypress, an oak.
I'm feeling a short spruce tree.
A short spruce.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe it would have been spiky too.
Oh my gosh. It's so silly.
But going from a dangerous tail, we go to a dinosaur that's a little more historically important, at least at the moment. What is on screen now is one of the most famous ornithopods, and for very good reason. Even though it's also a weirdo.
Was this one of the
Which,
first two
again,
dinosaurs
is one.
ever? Was it? I might be misremembering. Was it? Was one of the first two dinosaurs ever discovered?
It is the second dinosaur to ever have an official name. At least one that's still valid. This is Iguanodon. And it's, if any dinosaur has gone through a lot of changes, I think this animal has been changed more than Spinosaurus, to be honest with
Oh
you.
gosh, and that's painful.
Yeah. And it's odd for an ornithopod too, because Iguanodon has really huge front limbs. In fact, they're almost as long as its hind limbs, which you never see in an ornithopod. The arms are really, really well muscled. They have a great range of motion. Believe it or not, we've known about this animal for almost 200 years, so there have been a lot of studies on it.
Uh-uh.
And of course, it has that big iconic thumb spike, which I love old paleo art where you see it just jabbing a theropod in the throat.
Oh, the thumb spike?
Yeah. And and again, there have been lots of studies on this. It could use its thumbs like daggers, or it could
Hey.
punch you with its fingers.
So was this dinosaur skeleton changed after we learned more about like the other one, the Megalosaurus was from a it went I think the Megalosaurus went from a like quadruped to a biped. This one changed too, or did it stay the same throughout the years?
See, that's the fun thing. If you look up historical pictures of Iguanodon, you'll see a ton that don't even look like the same animal. Because when it was first discovered, they basically reconstructed it as a giant iguana, because Iguanodon, it has teeth like an iguana. We also thought the thumb spike was a horn on the nose, so you see that in the earliest depictions. They also really overestimated its size. The initial estimate for Iguanodon puts it at about 25 meters, I think.
Mhm.
Like, just way too big. Though that is to say, Iguanodon was still a really, really big animal. Like, it's huge, to be honest with you. It's a really huge ornithopod. And a little fun fact for everybody here. As of February 10th, 9 days from today, we'll have known about this dinosaur for 200 years.
Happy
Cake and
birthday!
a special post. We're gonna do it. We're
Yes.
gonna have a
Hap-
freaking
hap-
party.
Happy birthday,
Something special.
Don.
Yeah, Megalosaurus's 200th birthday was last year, actually.
That's crazy.
And why didn't we
200 years?
celebrate? Why didn't we celebrate it? Where were you?
A lot of people did in paleontology.
So I make a cake every day or every year for David Attenborough. No,
Richard Attenborough.
Richard Attenborough. Best hug I've ever gotten. Ever. And then for Judy, little Decky, yep.
Yep.
I make a cake for them every year. June 16th and July 18th.
Mhm.
Every year. Just for that.
And I guess this year, one for Iguanodon, huh?
Now I'm gonna have to make one for the 200th birthday of Iguanodons.
You know, as the years go on, we'll actually have more and more to do.
February
It's
4th,
kinda
huh?
fun.
You want me to make a birthday a cake for you too? I'll do it. Come on. Knees.
Well, I will say, we do have more to say on Iguanodon.
Yeah, we do.
Quite a bit more. And some of it involves this skeleton here. But we'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
Because since this is such an important dinosaur, I feel we might as well talk about its discovery a little bit. So, Iguanodon
Nah.
was named by the Mantels.
Oh my gosh.
Gideon and Mary Ann Mantell found the first remains. Mary Ann was a very, very skilled artist She drew all the bones, and Gideon presented them to, was it the Royal Society? Or,
It
yeah, I
was
think the Royal Society
the
in
Royal
England.
Society.
Yep. He presented it on February 10th, 1825. And thus Iguanodon was born.
Oh, I love the nose piece on this
Yes.
specifically. That's the cutest thing ever.
Yep. This is a drawing that Mary Ann made of the original Iguanodon. She included some extra material they found besides just the teeth, but the teeth are there. And as you can see, they thought the thumb spike was a nose horn. The ironic thing is, though, this is no longer Iguanodon. The material that is in this picture was looked at later on and found to be a different genus, which is a complicated story because paleontology can never be easy.
It looks like this is small enough to. Was this small enough to sit on a branch or something?
That seems to be what she drew. I'm not sure why she drew it like that, but it's a good artistic piece.
It's like it's sitting on vertebrae column.
That's what I always thought when I was a kid.
Yeah, me too.
But this is now named Mantellosaurus, which is similar to Iguanodon, but it's different. Now, what really made Iguanodon important to the history of paleontology was a discovery during the late 1870s. There was a mine in Bertelsart, Belgium. I believe it was a coal mine. And as they dug, they started finding bones. And more bones. And more and more and more and more and more. I believe, isn't it 30 total?
For the
For
ones that were
Bernissart?
stuck, yeah, it was 32, I think, in total that I read.
So-
yes, 30.
So 32 adult Iguanodon, all preserved together in this one coal mine.
Oh, and yes, these two are opposite sides of the diapsid family tree.
Oh, iguanas and Iguanodon. Yes, they are. Iguanas are lepidosaurs.
Mhm.
Iguanodon is an archosaur. But they do have similar looking teeth. At any rate, up here we have a map of the quarry, and you can just see we have individual after individual after
I
individual.
think they found 32 individuals, but it might have been a mixture. So it could have been 20, anywhere from 28 to 32
Well,
individuals.
It's around 30.
Yeah, so typically like around 30.
Yeah, around 30 of them. And the fun thing is, there's probably more down there, but the mine was closed down, unfortunately. So we might never know. At any rate, why so many of these things? It's really hard to say.
So what happened?
Maybe they saw the devil and died afraid.
Ah, don't give me that stuff.
So there are actually a few hypotheses for what might have killed all of these dinosaurs.
Okay.
The one I feel is most likely is that they were trekking through a very, very muddy swamp. We know from the rocks in the mine that it was a swamp deposit with very thick mud.
Are there juveniles?
Nope. Only adults.
Wow.
And
so the heavier ones got trapped?
What it seems to be. It seems that a herd of iguanodon was going through a swamp. The adults sunk into the mud while the youngsters were able to just scamper on by.
Do you think it was like a methane trap?
That's also a possibility. Some researchers have proposed that volcanic gases or something poisonous like methane may have killed a herd as they walked through.
The heavier ones would have gotten trapped.
But my problem with the methane idea, though, or volcanic gases, is just there's no juveniles. And
well, they're lighter. They could have.
Well, but they still breathe.
Yeah, but they could have gotten out faster.
That's true. The main thing is we just don't know. There are hypotheses, but as with some things in science, we might
Flash
never
flood.
know.
Well, even
Also
then,
possible.
even with the flash flood, there would still be juveniles.
There would still be juveniles, and there would be flood deposits, which we don't
Uh-huh.
have.
And the only thing that we have are older adult
Mhm.
dinosaurs.
And not just, well, we don't just have a ton of them. They're also super well preserved, which at this point in time for dinosaur paleontology is a huge deal.
But the way that they're so well preserved makes me think that
Could have
maybe
been something poisonous.
right.
Yep.
A flood event. But how did the babies get out? And how did they just have the adults, you know?
And we just don't know. If they ever reopen the mine, maybe we can actually get down there and study it.
The children yearn for the mines.
The children do yearn for the
I
mines.
do yearn for them.
Which I hope someday someone's able to go down there and to really sort this out with modern geology. But at this point, it's a mystery.
You are the
But
faster you think. Put
that's
that
true.
on a shirt. Put that on a shirt.
But it's
Eddie.
it's an interesting mystery at least. And it's given
It's really
us
cool to think about.
it's given us some spectacular fossils. There is a little problem with them though, and that is pyrite disease. See,
Pyrite disease is my enemy.
well, it's the enemy of all paleontologists. Oh, and really quick, to Horizon's question there, almost all of these are fully articulated. Like, it's just like the animal laid down and died. How weird. But Don Fairfield too. Toxic mud or toxic water, also a
Yeah.
possibility. But you would
There's
expect
so many different possibilities
Yes.
that this could possibly happen through. I
yes,
don't think it would have been a volcanic event. I don't think it could have been one particular event.
and that's true. It could be multiple
I
things
think it's
happening.
multiple little things that really just
And
crunched them all.
and paleoanalysis is right. It's also weird that there's no carnivores with them.
Yeah, there's no
and-
carnivores that were found alongside them.
And if I recall correctly, very little to no signs of scavenging.
Yeah, there were no teeth marks. So that makes me think that it was toxic.
Which it
Because
could be.
why would they come in and they probably like smelt the methane or something, like a bad fart. And they're probably like, oh heck no. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They probably didn't want to be anywhere near that.
Yeah.
I think so.
I hope one day we can find out for sure.
Yeah.
But I do want to touch on pyrite disease a little bit because it is unfortunately important for paleontology. Sometimes you can get this mineral in fossils called fool's gold. You might have heard of it. It's nice and pretty and shiny until it rusts and it turns all gross looking. That's pyrite, usually iron pyrite. And it can get into bones, usually via groundwater. And then it starts to rust because pyrite rusts really, really quickly. As it does so, it expands and it flakes off bits of bone, bits and bits and bits, eventually turning an entire skeleton into dust. It is horrific. And one of the worst things you can have happen to your fossils. Oh, hey, we do have, that's it. That's a fun alternate question, actually. Nessie, do you have a favorite dino-themed video game?
Ha ha. Okay, so if you're older than the 1900s. So I was born in 1992. My favorite was the Jurassic Park Evolution game.
Jurassic Park.
Operation Genesis. And I saved up 3 years of Christmas money to get that game.
Oh,
And then my grandfather passed away, and his computer went away with my CD still in it.
Oh, that's awful.
Yeah, but I've played the new Jurassic World and Jurassic World 2 Evolution.
Yeah.
I've been playing those games. But no, my favorite game is actually Horizon Zero Dawn.
Consider it a dinosaur game.
I would too, but they're more like mechanical.
They're
But
dinosaurs.
it's a little bit harder. But that's my favorite. Don't tell me old. I'm not old.
For me, Jurassic Park Operation Genesis is a serious contender because I played that a ton too when I was a kid.
Oh, did y'all know that the new Turok game's coming out?
Yep, we're gonna be playing that.
Okay, the moment it came out, I spread the word and I was like, let's go.
Yeah, that game was my
It
childhood
did have
too.
a lot of ornithopods. You're right.
Um,
Oh, Trespasser. Yeah.
I would say Trespasser.
That was a good one, dude.
Oh, the
That was
controls
such
are
a good one.
awful.
Now,
Pulling a
not the
hand with a
tar
number
pits.
pad. It
Let's
was
see.
horrific.
That's terrible, dude.
I haven't played a dinosaur game in a long time. The last dinosaur game I played, I think I
Ark
remember
is
playing.
fine.
I played was Duck Hunt.
Duck Hunt.
Hey, that has dinosaurs in it. I'll count it.
Same thing. Different kinds of dinosaurs, but
So-
okay.
This is gonna sound really weird, but my favorite dinosaur game right now might be a Minecraft mod that adds dinosaurs. Because you can bring them back to life and care for them like it's your own Jurassic Park. Yeah, I know it's nerdy, but it's fun.
It's fine. If y'all play Minecraft and get the first Jurassic World one, then you'll see me.
You're in the trailer, right?
Ark what? Okay. Hey, so I've already got one. I've already got an Ark server. Oops, shit. I'm sorry. Oops.
You're fine.
I already have an Ark server. I haven't been on there in almost a year. It's called Mesozoic Wanderers.
You do realize now that you've said that we have to play together, right?
Yeah, now I gotta bring not my house on my brachio.
Oh, you played with what mod is that? I know what mod adds a brachio, and it's good.
I know.
Well, at any rate, Iguanodon, really cool. Oh no, we have another question. Are dragons a type of dino? So I feel a wyvern is hypothetically possible. And I say that because we do have dinosaurs that look like little wyverns.
Wyverns possibly, but only if it's legs.
Yeah,
Because the arms have to be.
the arms have to be the wings.
Yes.
Yeah, six-legged dragons are not possible, but two-leg and two-wing dragons are possible. A dinosaur could evolve into that. But also, to all those conspiracy theorists who say that dragons are just dinosaurs, no. If that's what you meant, then no. And stop saying that, please. We actually have a pretty good history for most dragon myths, and we know what they're based on. A lot of them are just based on lizards and snakes, and they've been exaggerated over time. Nessie's running down to get a drink, so if you have any other questions right now, then please feel free to ask. Let's see. Something fun. I do agree Path of Titans is pretty good too, and they keep getting better with every update. If you're interested in trying dinosaur games, one of my favorite ones just got an update today. Beasts of Bermuda. You play as a dinosaur. They have, I think, 15 different species you can choose from, so there's quite a variety. And they just added Changuraptor as a variant option for playing a Velociraptor. It lets you glide. It's really fun.
Oh, just gotta say, between all of our channels right now, we have 26 active viewers watching us right now. Between
Yeah,
our
it's
three
not
channels.
bad. Oh, and we have a very good question. What does ornithopod mean? I forgot to translate that. So ornithopod is split into two words. Ornitho, meaning bird, and pod, meaning foot. Bird foot. Which is interesting because theropods have more birdy feet, but I wasn't around in the 1800s.
And to this question, technically, yes.
Well, technically because birds are dinosaurs. More sciencey side, asking if the group had any extra teeth in the earliest species. Not that I'm aware of. Tooth count in ornithopods seems to be a gradual increase as the group continues on. They start with a normal amount for ornithischians, and then they go absolutely insane. Oh, and would any dinosaurs be friendly? Probably.
Yeah, compies.
Actually, I could believe that because predators seem to be easy to train. I bet ceratopsians would just bite you at any given opportunity.
Well, I had 2 pet parrots growing up,
Yeah.
and I had black and blue bruises all over my arms. So it's a give or take with that one.
So what I'm hearing is Psittacosaurus would be the worst pet,
I feel like they wouldn't be great pets,
but you'd still want them,
but I'll still take them.
especially as babies.
Yeah, I'll take the babies.
Well, who's ready to move on from Iguanodon?
Let's move on from iguanodontids.
Oh, well, you shouldn't have said Iguanodontids.
Interestingly enough, iguanodontids, ornithopods closely related to iguanodon, grew extremely diverse during the early Cretaceous. And this is a very niche, and it's been found all over the world, including South Africa.
Mhm.
And they went in weird different places. So in Africa alone, these are the 2 extremely odd iguanodons. So Tyrannosaurus, which you all might know from if you ever played Ark, Jurassic.
That's not an arc.
Tyrannosaurus not an Ark?
It is as a mod.
Oh, yeah, that's my bad. It's a mod. Okay, but if you played Jurassic World or Evolution, the second one, you'd see a rhinoceros. That's one of my favorite ones where you have to fly up in the helicopter and trank them.
Although the one in the Jurassic World games is a little weird.
Okay, but she's pretty.
I agree. Have you seen the Camp Cretaceous one?
Oh, I love Camp Cretaceous so much.
I mean the
Bumpy is big.
I mean the model in Jurassic World Evolution 2. It looks like a sunfish.
It does. It does. Like a perch, a sunfish.
No.
Thing.
Like the big sunfish.
It has that big orange.
It's
and the
ugly.
blue. Oh, you don't like it?
I don't. I hate the Camp Cretaceous one. It's so ugly.
Well, there's that. But a rhinoceros is a duck-billed dinosaur.
Yes. Well, kind of. It's an iguanodont.
It's an iguanodont.
It's the
sailback. It's not a duck-bill. It's an iguanodont. And I was working on.
Wait a sec. We have a question.
Random question.
What's the question?
If these dinosaurs were alive today, which one do you think would be raised for farm meat?
Oh gosh, Alma, yes. So many. Where do we even start with that question? Godzilla
is
meat.
One. I feel you probably want an ornithopod because they can eat just about anything, especially the later ones.
Yeah.
And some of them seem to have gotten pretty chunky. Actually, case in point here. Really quick, talking about these iguanodontids. Tyrannosaurus, it's weird because it has a really high spine.
Yes, Dan. The artwork is a little bit different. And I even said that, especially with this bottom picture. I concur. But yeah, tell them the reason.
Okay. Well, I'll tell it in a second, because Ouranosaurus, big sail, weird. Some people think it was a hump. I think they're wrong. The other dinosaur is extra weird. Now, you might look at it and think those limbs are too short. They're not. This is Lurdusaurus. It is a fascinating iguanodont from North Africa. Its bones are super thick and dense.
And I do that.
You do what?
I do histology.
Yep. Nessie here looks at bones.
I'm a destructive paleontologist.
But it also has really short limbs. So Lurdusaurus may have been convergent with hippos, weirdly enough, in the modern day. It may have been really good at swimming, or at least walking along the riverbeds. Looking at the bones, I think it's definitely possible. They're chunky.
Yeah, definitely not running from predators. I understand that.
Well, I mean, it's an iguanodont, it would probably just punch them.
There's.
Well, that said, iguanodonts aren't the only ornithopods we have. Now we're going to start getting into the really successful ones.
Can we do a one?
Yep, I think it's the next page. Oh, okay. Nessie's going to grab something quick. But starting in the middle to late Cretaceous, there's a new group of ornithopods that appear. And once they appear, they take over the world. These are the hadrosaurids, named for Hadrosaurus. And they have a different body plan than a lot of ornithopods. A lot of these hadrosaurs have really tall, skinny bodies.
So I worked at MOR when we were doing the Parasaurolophus stuff. And they sound the same thing as this.
Nessie has a little horn here she wants to play when we get to Parasaurolophus.
Okay, get to Parasaurolophus.
I will in a second.
Okay, I'm excited.
Okay. These hadrosaurids usually have really tall spines on the back of their vertebrae. They have huge tails, and they have long legs and necks. They would have been really efficient walkers, interestingly enough. And a lot of them were large. On average, they neared about 30 feet in length, and some could have rivaled sauropods in size. And they split into two main groups.
Lambio.
This is a Corythosaurus.
That's a Corythosaurus.
The hadrosaurs split into two major groups, the ones with crests and the ones without crests.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be looking at the crested ones first. But before that, I just want to say they do unholy things to the bones that are in their face.
Unholy.
So do you guys
I mean,
think
hey.
the crest were a natural or sexual selection thing?
Fine, go on then.
They were probably involved in communication and display. And I say that because most of these crests are hollow. Well, are we sure about that?
Or ontogeny. Horizon.
Well, they would have been an indicator of adulthood. We can say that because we have baby dinosaurs. But they probably were sexually selected for. They were probably used in communication because most of these crests are hollow. And the nasals, so the bones of the nose, run through them, so they would be able to snort and make noises. And if you know anything about anatomy and you're looking at this skull, it is heinous. So, really quick, the nasals are all the way back up here. Those are the nose bones and the back of the head.
That's crazy.
This is the premaxilla.
What the fuck?
So humans don't have this, but the premaxilla is an extra bone at the very front of the face. Usually extends the jaws a bit. Lambeosaurians decide to just stretch it over their forehead.
Okay, so did Parasaurolophus.
Parasaurolophus is the worst one.
I know. I love these Paras.
It's
Guys, help me out.
It's horrific. It's absolutely horrific, and I love that they exist, but I hate their anatomy. Okay, you
Eyes are most beautiful. Uh-oh.
horrible.
Totally tubular.
Yes.
My guy. I say that all the time.
Nessie will now try to replicate a
No,
Parasaurolophus.
No.
Not yet?
No. Go on. Finish.
Okay. Well, getting into
Is that a whole video?
yeah, it's the video of the calls. Well, one of the most famous, if not the most famous Lambeosaurian is Parasaurolophus.
Yeah.
And it takes this condition and makes it way worse. That is all nasal and premaxillary.
Isn't that crazy?
It's
I
horrific.
Did
Did you? I didn't know you helped excavate a para.
Oh, two.
Oh. Well, now I know. And like most Lambeosaurians, this huge crest is hollow, and it would have been able to blow through it to make noises. We have made computer and physical models to approximate the sound, but something important to consider is the real animal could probably use the crest in ways we just can't replicate, because it would have been made of flesh and bone. So it probably wouldn't sound exactly like this. But here is an approximation. This was done in 1997.
Oh, you didn't do a new one?
I haven't been able to find a new one. You do? Also, it's playing the noise.
Try again.
It sounds like a trumpet. What was that?
Do it again,
Oh, sure. Oh,
please.
sure thing. I'll play it one more time. Hear it now? This is a really blaring error through the model. And I agree, very tooty. Weird. Oh, yep, and she's... Come on, you had it earlier.
I know I did so well.
That's better.
Because I feel like that's how their horns go.
Yeah, off the back of their head.
They'd have been like, that's embarrassing. But there's cork still stuck in here.
Yeah. She just got it out of storage.
Oh, can't do it.
There you go.
Yeah. I feel like if I blew my nose, and
Mhm.
I was a Parasaurolophus, I feel like that's what it would have sounded like. It's okay.
Val has a good question down here. Don't deeper sounds carry further? They do. And
Yes.
and considering just how big Parasaurolophus was, probably could have been pretty deep and pretty loud.
Okay. Can I get some claps in the chat for at least I figured out how to do the Viking horn? Please? Because, like, that's not easy.
No? I could probably try it, but it'd sound like I'm just blowing air. But there are a lot of these interesting Lambeosaurians, including some real oddballs, such as this little guy called Ajnabia. See, even though they're found all over the world, these hadrosaurs have some places where we just don't find them. One of them being North Africa until just a couple years ago, when we found Ajnabia odysseus. It is a dwarf lambeosaurine from Morocco. Also, people are clapping now. You're getting claps. Now, Ajnabia is known from fragmentary remains, but it seems to be an adult. At least the animal was no longer growing when it died. But it was only 10 feet long from its nose to its tail. Just a tiny, tiny dwarf or hadrosaur. But now, let's look at the other branch of the hadrosaurs. And these animals do a couple things really, really well. They grow big, some of them way too big, and they grow really big herds too. Oh, and a super quick to paleoanalysis question of island dwarfism. Possibly. Ajnabia's closest relatives appear to be some small species of European hadrosaurs. So it could be a migrant from the Cretaceous islands of Europe down to Africa. It's definitely possible. But anyway, the other group of hadrosaurs, the Saurolophines, we have not just one, we have many examples of dozens, hundreds, and thousands of these things dying en masse in these absolutely colossal bone beds. It just seems to be a common occurrence with them, and we don't know why, other than apparently they lived in gigantic herds. And we also know that some of the larger members of this group, they become the largest non-sauropod dinosaurs on Earth.
Sauropelda.
Sauropelda. These pictures here are of Shantungosaurus, which is
Say
often
it again, but louder.
Shantungosaurus,
Good. See? Okay.
which
Do
is
that.
which is usually found to be the largest hadrosaur ever. If you want to stop and look at this picture or look at it through the link to the link we have in the description to this presentation, if you want to take a look at it,
Oh, no, you're talking
these
about
things are too
chicken.
big. They're just too big. They're gigantic.
Yeah. Yeah.
That skull is like 7 or 8 feet long. It's crazy.
Jurassic Park did have a decent design for dinosaurs.
I agree. Well, especially for the first couple movies.
And also being the first CGI.
Well, at least of its.
They were the first
Well,
CGI.
no, they weren't the first CGI. There was CGI before them, but they were the most ambitious at the time. Terminator 2.
Okay.
Terminator 2 is older, and it used CGI for the Terminator. Those effects were part of what inspired Spielberg to try CGI.
First massive CGI because it was.
I did not know that came out before Jurassic
It's-
Park.
I'm pretty sure it was Terminator. Yep,
Not-
1991. Yeah, the effects for the what is it, T1000? I forget what the liquid metal
Jurassic
one
Park
is.
came out.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. But it was the first massive
It was
CGI.
yes, I agree.
With the Gallimimus.
Yeah, it was the first level of that ambition for CGI.
It's pretty cool.
Gee, I wonder if I agree. But at any rate, we're not gonna go right into the biggest of these Saurolophines.
Saurus?
It is not. This is
What is that one?
this is a hadrosaur that you're familiar with, actually.
What is that, my gribbo?
Yes. So while many of the lambeosaurines turn their nasals into a weird crest, some Saurolophines just grow big noses.
A weird dentary.
And they have a weird dentary too?
Dentary.
Okay. They might use these noses for resonating chambers or just to make a big crest to show off.
If you follow me on TikTok or see one of my shorts,
Yes.
everyone says it's a big potato, but that's the dentary of
Yes.
a Griposaurus.
For anyone watching through my channel or Vendalia's, please do check out Nessie's channel. She has several shorts of her working at a Griposaurus dig site.
Yeah, I'm work, and it's called the duck butt site.
I'm gonna guess because its butt was found first.
Yeah, because we got 5 centrums. The vertebrae got 5 centrums. Half of one femur, and a lot of a big metacarpals and tarsals.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but that Griposaurus is what you call a super duck.
She's super duck. So this will be the second super duck that I'm working on. The first super duck, we pulled all of her out, and you can find her at the Red-Eared Field Station, the Red-Eared Museum. But this one is even bigger. I've never seen a bigger duck than this.
Yeah?
I've never seen.
Is it bigger than any Edmonto you see?
Yes. Yes.
See, this is another weird thing that Saurolophines do. You get about an average size for most of them. They might be 30-ish feet. And then you get a rare one that's just, setting new records. Just smashing
this
records.
Is Daddy Ducky. Wow, this one's huge.
Yeah, and it's same species. It's just one turns out to be 2/3 bigger than the rest. And do we have any idea why? Like, you've done histology on them, I'm sure.
Yeah, I've done histology.
Are their bones weird? Do we think they had a growth hormone issue?
Series for this one is 38 years old.
It's 38 years. That's old.
For a duck bill.
Is that old for a duckbill?
Yes. They're typically 26. The oldest Parasaurolophus we have is 26.
So does it seem like they grew linearly and they just kept growing?
I think so.
Okay, they didn't plateau like most dinosaurs?
No, they didn't plateau. They just kept going up.
I actually didn't know that. That's good to know.
So now we know that this super duck, which we call the duck butt site, is almost 30 years old. That's crazy.
The more you know, huh, folks? And I also wanted to bring up something else with the Griposaurus. Oh.
Yeah, we went on all fours trail, right? What a crazy time to be alive.
So, Horizon, can you corroborate Vanessa's story? Is it a really big duck butt?
Horizon, please.
Well,
corroborate my story.
Well, we wait for that. I also wanted to bring up, we're at the stage of ornithopods where they start getting too many teeth, and they start developing a really, really weird method of chewing that was apparently absurdly effective.
They have such crazy teeth.
Yeah. This is the jaw of, I believe this is a Griposaurus, actually. I think it's the lower jaw, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
And as everyone can see, it's just teeth stacked up in what's called a dental battery. And the upper jaw has a matching set. And as the jaw closes, they just grind against each other. I believe one of the sets of teeth kind of bulges out as it grinds. Right? And it's just a giant shredder. And we know from their coprolites that these things basically just ate anything they could get in their mouths. It's spooky. It's weird. But there is another Saurolophine that is
okay, sarcastic Therapsid. I see you. Don't do it. No, he's my buddy. He's my best friend.
So, at a little known site called Egg Mountain, we have found, and actually, Nessie here in particular has found, well, people have found thousands of nests from a dinosaur called Maiasaur. Just thousands of them. So many eggs, too many to count, and dozens of skeletons of babies and adults. We have hundreds of just individuals of this dinosaur.
Yeah.
And we have so many from the same sites that we can do population studies on them. And we can get statistics for a group of extinct dinosaurs, which you can't do for almost anything else. It's absolutely crazy. Oh, I see that. Eddie, Titanoboa lived about 5 million years too late to do that.
Yeah. Titanoboa was way later.
Well, I guess the babies could have hunted birds. Ooh, also a fun question. Any computer models for muscles for the tooth wonders? Anything special besides the teeth or jaws? If so, we do know what their musculature looks like.
No, Horizon. You and I were there together at the duck butt site. That's what that site was. We called her duck butt. The large hadrosaur. That's called duck butt.
Oh, at any rate, we do know what the muscles for these dinosaurs look like because we found a lot of mummies too.
I'll send you a video.
Oh dear. Yeah. I guess Nessie has to correct Horizon here. Oh, and Chosen Undead is asking, can someone help me get into paleontology? Well, well, we don't want to ask that, but yeah, we can do that. If you want to get involved in paleontology, honestly, it depends on what you're interested in. If you work at a museum and you tell people about dinosaurs, you're involved with paleontology. You can teach them about it online. You can study. One of the things I would highly recommend is learn how to read scientific papers because you want to be reading the original research, especially if you want to do science communication. You want to read and read and read and read because a lot of science media doesn't do a great point of communicating information. And that goes from news articles to even documentaries. They sometimes mess things up. But depending on your age, I'm sure there's courses in high school or college you can take that would help get you more towards paleontology. A lot of universities let you sit in on a geology class if you want to learn a bit about that. And almost every museum will accept volunteers. And you can volunteer to teach people about animals or maybe even work in the prep lab and back.
And another big thing is don't be afraid to go after what you want.
Yes.
Shoot for your goals.
If you want to be a paleontologist, don't let anyone stop you. There is always a way you can get into the field. I mean, heck, until last year, I was stuck in Iowa for like my entire life. There are no dinosaurs in Iowa. I got myself out here and I got started following my dreams. Anyone can do it. Oh, Sparrow here is asking how much longer we'll be going. We'll probably be wrapping up within the next half hour or so, depending on how things go.
Okay, so you want us to move on? Got it.
Oh,
so the great mother lizard.
Yes.
Oh, good mother. No, she's a great mother. Maiasaura Peoplesorum. I worked on her in Shoto. You got
Yep. Shoto near Egg Mountain. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
that's Egg Mountain. Do you want
to? Well, actually, next is one of the population studies.
Okay. I helped with that.
Yeah.
What the fudge?
Yeah, so you've done research on Mysore, right?
I have
Done osteology or
osteology, histology, and geomorphometric data.
yep, and helped dug them up too.
Uh
How many of them have you sent to the Museum of the Rockies?
huh. 6. Unless you count the other 2, then that would be 8.
I
Well,
mean, do you count the other two?
I do in my heart.
But yeah, there's been so much research done on this animal. We know how many of them survived hatching and got to adulthood. Like out of 1,000
Yes.
babies, usually about
Sawyer was originally described by Jack Horner and Bob Harmon.
Mhm.
Rest his soul. He died in the field. It's a long story. Yeah, so amazing.
But at any rate, we have enough of these things that we know about half of them. So half out of a clutch 1,000, which is really, really good for most animals, would make it to sexual maturity. About 200 or 300 would reach skeletal maturity and become fully grown, which again, still really good. And then, weirdly enough, the survival rate really drops off, which isn't too uncommon with a lot of animals.
Thanks, Val.
But you said your Grippo was 30, 38?
Gripples.
Well, I know it's bigger, but it's also kind of interesting to see that even within these hadrosaurids, we have such a difference in how long they live. Because it seems a lot of Myosaura would probably die before reaching the age of even 12 or 14.
Yeah, that's true. Wait. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
It's 2 a.m. where you are? Sorry. Across the country.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Myosaura peoplesaur was described. 2:16. 6 o'clock here.
Well, 216. Oh, probably over in Europe.
Thanks, European friends. Take me with you. Take me with you.
It's okay.
America's dying.
Well, at least it has a lot of dinosaurs.
It's a why I'm here.
I know.
For the dinosaurs.
Well, I will say really quick. So apparently Horizon lives in Vermont. They flew across the country to dig.
Okay, my little bug loving bee.
Don Fairfield says no dinos anywhere around me, but Ice Age stuff. If you want to get started in paleo, just start with any fossils nearby. Like there are going to be fossils just about everywhere you go, and you can study them.
I love them.
Yeah, I mean, if all that's around you is Ice Age, but you're interested in dinosaurs, you can still start with Ice Age. It's pretty easy for people to transition from one part of the field to another. It's a fairly small field.
Ooh, Jesus.
It's okay. It's okay.
But
Anyway.
Say his name.
Anyway.
Paleoanalysis.
Moving on
right.
from Myosaura, maybe.
So did we finish speaking about Myosaura?
Yeah. A lot of them die in their early teens or earlier, which for us humans, that might sound kind of weird since we're kind of used to living at least into our 40s or 50s. But that's not that rare for a lot of animals. Most, even large animals, usually don't live more than a decade or so. It's interesting.
I'm a vertebrate paleontologist. I love dinosaurs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not giving
Well, vertebrate. That's a pretty broad topic.
Oh, Benalia's talking.
You said you're a vertebrate one. Vertebrates are a pretty large topic.
That's true, but even within that there are specialties. But you can switch from one to another. Are you having trouble? Technical difficulties.
Okay, fine. What does Bengali have to say?
He was just saying vertebrate paleontology is still a broad topic.
So bright.
It happens. But now we're moving on to the cow of the Cretaceous. This animal on screen is possibly the most common and well-studied dinosaur of the latest Cretaceous, Edmontosaurus.
We're not comparing it to mammals.
We're not. I've just heard people call it the cow of the Cretaceous.
Tastes like beef.
Maybe. But with Edmontosaurus, even among the large hadrosaurs, it is a weird giant because it was common for the adults to reach 40 feet in length. And it was fairly common for some individuals to push past 50. It's one of the biggest non-sauropod dinosaurs we've ever found. And they were all over North America. We have their fossils stretching all the way from northern Alaska to, let's see, I believe, would the most southern ones be in Utah? Or did they make it to Texas?
No. Well, are you talking about acrocamps?
No, we're talking about Edmontosaurus.
Edmontos, yeah.
Yeah, think about to Utah. So most of North America. And they moved in gigantic herds, like bison scale herds, tens of thousands of individuals. And because there were so many living at any one time, we have a ton of their fossils, and we have a bunch that are so well preserved, they have skin impressions. And a lot of them. Thank you for moving the cameras. Over here on the right is an Edmontosaurus hand, and pretty much all of it is there. This hand came from a mummy called Dakota, and Dakota is so well preserved, it taught us that Edmontosaurus had a hoof on its front legs, which is something we'd never seen before, but it's beautiful. It has a hoof and it has a little finger hanging off.
That's so crazy.
And we have other specimens that showed that at least some individuals would have had a little, like, rooster comb on the back of their head. So even though they didn't have a bony crest, seems like some hadrosaurs still grew crests. And we also have full body mummies that show that some of them would have had banding on their tails. So we even know not the colors they were, but the patterns they had on their bodies.
Yes. Texas, Big Bend.
Oh, so they made it to Texas.
Yeah.
Near
Cleburne.
Okay.
Cleburne, Texas.
And so Don Fairfield here saying Edmonto climate, what is that?
What is that?
That's
what is that?
Pretty accurate, to be honest. Because like I said, we have Edmontosaurus in northern Alaska, which again, the Cretaceous was warmer than today, but it still would have gotten below freezing in the winter. It would have been dark for 2 to 3 months out of the year. And we know they raised their babies that far north. Because we have
them.
Well, because we have eggshells and bones from baby Edmontosaurus that far north. Which is absolutely crazy.
Pretty crazy.
And just to give people an idea, this is what one of those multi-individual bone beds looks like. If you know anything about paleontology and you've seen a site map, this is an absolute nightmare. And this is only from about 60 to 70 individuals. Keep in mind, there are ones with thousands.
Gramsci.
Yes. But that is the end of our presentation, I do believe. So
if anyone has any questions, we would love to welcome that, right?
Yes. If you have any questions, if you'd like to send them in the form of a super chat, those get highlighted for us, and it helps Nessie and I do field work.
Yeah. So if you want to ask questions about what we're doing out here in Wyoming, that would be great.
Yeah.
If you have any I don't know, critiques as well.
Sure. Anyways, we could maybe improve future streams. If you want to hear about a rock, ask us our favorite rock.
Thank you so much, Alma. Thank you so much, Mr. Fairfield.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, really. Thanks everyone for stopping by.
We really appreciate that.
Mhm.
Son, you got any questions, girl?
We have a question from Sparrow here.
New Mexico and paleontology is okay. So
There's
it's
a
not,
lot.
but it's not what you think it would be.
Really?
No, there's some dinosaur stuff, but as far as I've experienced, it's primarily for Cambrian.
Isn't the Kaiparowitz New Mexico?
Yes.
That's full of dinosaurs. It's equivalent to Dinosaur Park.
Okay, so if you want to go to the northwestern corner of New Mexico, find you some dinos up there, girl.
Caden's asking, how can he get out here? Because he'd love to help help us dig fossils.
Caden, come here. I need all the help I can get.
Yes, we're going to be digging some things up this year, so we'll take any help we can get.
Oh, are you kidding me, Logan? Logan.
Why are you guys so cool?
I'm just me, baby.
Depends on who you.
Same here.
Yes. Nuh-uh.
We don't try. We just are.
I'm just a dinosaur nerd.
Oh, okay. So, Mr. Paleo Analysis. I'm gonna use your full governmental name. Was it okay? Was this fine?
Let's see. Don's
Doing the eyeball thing to me. You know I don't like the eyeball thing.
Don's saying on streams, maybe learn toggling sizes of various boxes. That would be a thing for Vandalia, not us.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, that has to be him.
So they're critiquing your setup, Vandalia.
Yeah, I need if you want to. I need money to hire a professional to do this for me.
Thank you, Don.
Ooh. Yes, Don is asking what ate Edmontosaurus?
Ooh, all of the things.
Oh, I think they had one main predator.
Oh, which one was that?
Gee, I don't know how many pieces of paleo art can I find for it.
Oh, why should you say who it was?
Because there's good paleo art for it.
Oh yeah. Please use Chris Davia's art or.
Oh, did DiPiazza do?
It's quite obvious, but just use that one.
Okay.
Yeah, use that one.
Yep. I'm pretty sure this is Mark Whitten. I think everybody knows what was hunting in Montosaurus.
Godzilla.
Oh, Caden wants to make a dino documentary. Sounds like fun.
All right, let's do it. Let's go. Let's make it less shaky than Cloverfield. How much people on fire in the subway?
Well, Eddie is wondering how dinosaurs would tolerate weather today. It is on. Eddie's curious how dinosaurs would tolerate weather today. Probably pretty well, to be honest with you.
There was some more oxygen back then, so that would be a difficult question.
Not late Cretaceous. Late Cretaceous is about equivalent to today. No, it's about the same.
Yeah, it's still different.
A lot less CO2 than in modern day. Or a lot more CO2 back then, actually, weirdly enough.
You son of a bitch.
Hey.
Oops. I'm gonna call you. What even is that question? Stop doing that.
It's okay.
No, I love you to pieces.
Don is meaning, I guess, in extreme areas like Texas and Alaska. They probably would have handled it pretty well. Maybe not modern Alaska so much.
Like, I didn't use the whole curse word the whole time until after the fact. My bad, y'all. My bad.
Oh, a lot of dinosaurs would love Florida. That's true.
Okay, first of all, Logan, you know what I'm gonna say.
Oh dear. Please be nice.
I love you
Oh no.
because you spelled T-Rex correctly.
Wow, you are a dino nerd, aren't you?
My true love.
A lot of people don't spell it. A lot of people don't spell it correctly.
A lot of people don't.
No, they don't.
Let's see. Oh, wait. Paleoanalysis says you guys should do a live stream with Paleoanalysis. Hey, if you're inviting both of us, I'm down.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah, sounds like fun. All right. Well, with that
Okay.
said, I think we are probably good to
Yeah,
draw to a
we're gonna
close.
wrap up here.
Yeah.
All right. Anything you want to advertise coming up on your channels?
Yeah, so if you wanna pop over to YO Paleo, I'm gonna be doing some big owl things, Allosaurus things, and then I'm also gonna be talking about Pachycephalosaurus here pretty soon.
Mhm.
Like Marsupials and broad, but mostly Packies. I'm gonna be highlighting my research.
Mhm.
So if you want to come over and see what I'm getting ready to do, I'd love that.
Yep. And that is at YPaleo. WY Paleo.
Just click the name and the title of my. I got both the links in the title of my video. Just click their names on the title, and they'll take you right to their channels.
And as for me, I'm Doc Dino or Doctor Dino on YouTube. Again, spelled like I'm German because it's funny. I do a lot of little dinosaur and rock-based content. I'm actually trying to do a lot more of that recently, and people seem to be liking it. So if you too are curious about the rocks around you, come say hi. I also do a lot of longer dino content like this.
Yes.
Oh, you watched Beast Wars? We're going to talk about that after this.
So coming up for a future podcast, which clay do you guys want to focus on next?
I would like to do Pachycephalosaurus.
We already did those.
No,
Yeah, we did.
hardcore. I want Dracorex, Stygimoloch,
We did.
Wymingensis. No, harder.
I mean,
Whatever you want, I'll make my own video.
I feel like we could do that in a different, like, he's meaning for the series that we're doing.
Right, for the series
we're moving on.
Probably.
Our options are either Cretaceous sauropods or some clade within Theropoda. So we haven't done any of the theropods.
Can we
yet.
do like Allosaurus? Because
hey, that'd be fun. Yeah. How about Allosauroids?
Okay.
So we can even get into an acro.
Just
yeah.
tell. Cool. Just text me when you're ready, and be sure to do it before 8 hours before the stream.
No, Caden. No, Caden. I'm my own employer. That's so sweet, though.
Well, we will see you next time.
Cephalosaurus harder.
The funniest thing I've ever had.
Bad. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.
Hey, thanks for watching my podcast or Let's Play. If you want to help support my channel, you can make a monthly or yearly pledge on Patreon, or just a one-time donation on Vimeo, PayPal, or Cash App. For those looking for something to wear, we have some shirts, hats, and other stylish things in our merch store. If you enjoy gaming, you can always follow and sub to me on Twitch. For those who don't want to give money, I have an Amazon and Steam wish list who can help the channel out. And of course, just liking, leaving a comment, and sharing this video helps more than you can imagine. And always remember to never stop learning and enjoy the randomness.